Welcome back to Current Conversation. Today we're going to be talking about scalpers, Stradivarius violins, and the famous Utah monolith.
We're your hosts. I'm Carson.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Nathan. Caleb, why don't you get us started with scalpers?
Okay, does everyone here know what a scalper is?
Nope.
Yes.
Okay, basically a scalper is the person who greatly inflated the switch prices.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, so what they do is they buy something that has a limited stock and then resell it for almost double the price. They use stuff like bots to get things that are limited stock, so when it comes back into stock, a bot would just automatically buy it.
Birdbot is one that I've heard of a little bit before.
Yeah, and then they use these bots, and then it's gone. And there's a bunch of people doing it, and they actually there's an organization like on Facebook. You know how the new Xbox and PlayStation came out?
Mm-hmm.
They've basically been impossible to get, and the main cause of that is scalpers. They have more PlayStations that they're selling than the actual retailers do. The other day, they made a statement where they said that they've obtained over 3,500 consoles for resale.
Is there like a scalper union? Like we unite together as scalpers to overly
Yeah. There's like a Facebook group that you like pay a fee to join.
Oh my God.
And they share their tools with you. Like they have a software for scalping.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
Should we go into detail
But
a
is
little
it
bit?
more messed up than people grabbing toilet paper and necessary supplies?
Well, depends if
and
they
then
want
turning
to.
around and selling that for
Depends if they
profit.
want to air
Those
quote
are scalpers.
use it themselves.
That
Which
was
was
also
actually made illegal, thanks to
It
Trump.
was?
Yeah,
Wow.
Trump signed a thing making it illegal to sell like buy toilet paper and stuff like that, and then resell it for profit because people were
So
hoarding.
what are you
Smart.
calling Walmart and Costco selling toilet paper? They're buying it and
Well, yeah,
reselling
but
it
no,
for
but
profit.
he did it because there was people going to Walmart and Costco buying all of the toilet paper.
Oh, so you can't
and then selling the necessities for an absurd price.
So you can't
Yeah.
retail it.
So
retail is
about
that.
the absurd price. On eBay, these scalpers, they're selling PlayStations and Xboxes for over $1,000, which is about double the price. And some PS5s have even gone up to $2,000 on eBay.
Crazy.
That's like timesing it by 2 twice.
Just buy a PC.
Or multiplying it by 4 once.
Oh yeah, and so also with the new RTX graphics card that came out,
Oh no.
they've also been doing it with that. So like the new graphics card is really hard to get.
I saw
now.
this one meme where it was like the guy who is like the CEO of Nvidia or whatever, and he was holding an RTX 3080, and the caption for the meme was Nvidia showing off their entire stock of RTX graphics cards, and it's just him holding one.
Dude, it's so out of control. So the other day, Walmart they started selling Xboxes and PlayStations, like they came back into stock, and 2 minutes before they were back in stock, their website crashed already. Like there were so many bots and people on it, and then by the time their website came back on for people to do it, they were all gone. PlayStations and Xboxes, like the bots, they just went right to it. And like it's not like the bots are like part of the internet, I think. So I'm not exactly sure how it works, but basically like
I've just heard of this one bot called Birdbot. It's basically free, so it makes it really easy for people to do it. And all it does is it like refreshes a web page like every few seconds, and it basically knows how to buy something in bulk once you put in your like credit card info and your address. And once they become available, it'll buy like as many as you want or as many as possible. And it's basically making it way too easy for people to get a hold of products that are in high demand. It really is just a messed up way of trying to make money. You're basically taking something that someone else has made, what Sony or Microsoft has made, and then you're trying to profit off of what they're already trying to profit off of. So you have to resell it at a really high price for it to be worth it. And you're also just doing something that isn't really moral or ethical, really.
yeah, they're like basically manipulating people during the holiday season. Like if you want to get this for like someone's kid out there somewhere probably really wants to get a new PlayStation or Xbox, and then their parents are probably going to have to go to these scalpers to get it. It's just a mess. It's out of control.
I know, like what I was saying, we're buying necessities and selling them for a marked up price is illegal, but is this illegal?
Not yet. There's been lots of debate about it recently, and like some people are saying that the company needs to do something, some people are saying the retailers need to do something, like make just like a, what are they called, like the are
It's
you
not
a
really
bot?
the retailer's thing to deal with, though. It's not
Yeah.
their problem.
No, it's true. And I feel like maybe,
It's just business for the retailers. I mean, it's not hurting
Yeah,
them in any way.
Exactly.
I guess that's true. However, for the companies like Xbox and PlayStation, this may be good right now that they're getting a bunch of stuff sold, but in the long run, it's really going to hurt them because your customers aren't going to have the Xbox or the PlayStation, and they're not going to be buying games. So in the long run, it's really not a good plan.
So I feel like I've had some personal experience with trying to get a product that was in high demand at the time, and scalpers were taking advantage of it. I had saved up some money for a Nintendo Switch because I didn't have one at the time, and this was, I believe, in April, May. So right when pandemic was starting to hit harder.
And the Switch, like, it went super high.
Yeah, there was
in
such a
demand.
higher demand for the Switch because people were at home more. They wanted to play some video games.
Animal Crossing release.
Animal Crossing release, which really made it difficult to find a Switch.
Are we sure Nintendo didn't know this was coming?
No, Nintendo, they're the
Like,
master plan.
Wait a year, and I promise it'll be a better time. You'll want it more then.
It's true. When they delayed it by a year.
Couldn't have been more perfect. No, I like Nintendo. I don't think they would have done that, but
But
Yeah.
basically, we had to go to retail stores like in person every day to try to find one because they kept saying, "Oh, we'll get a few this day. We'll get a few this day," and it was like by sheer happenstance we were just out and about, and we went in a Walmart like without like just to go, and we're like, "Oh, while we're in there, we'll check for Switches," and they happened to have just put like 4 or 5 Switches on the shelf. And
you should
so,
sculpt them or whatever. What is there a verb that is in relation with what
extorted?
sculptors do?
I don't
We could just invent it. You got sculpted.
skull.
we could have sculpted it. But no, so we bought one Switch because that's the right thing to do, and I just feel like it shouldn't have to be a thing where if you want to buy a new or high demand product, you shouldn't have to worry about people trying to sell it for an overinflated price and having to worry about finding it at what the actual MSRP is. MSRP in air quotes, because that's not really what anything means anymore.
So like, and now with the new generation of Xbox and PlayStation, the day that the new Xbox came out, I went to Best Buy, not to get the new Xbox, but to try and find, I decided I wanted to buy the new Xbox controller. Mm-hmm. And so I went to Best Buy. I decided to ask about the new Xbox. I didn't see it anywhere.
Did they just laugh at you?
No, they just said, we're not even sure if we're ever going to get them in store because they're selling online so fast. Like, we're not even sure if, like,
Within
Best Buy, like, is even going to ship it to retailers, like, in store.
yeah.
And so, because the online is doing so well, it just might not even go to the physical stores. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's just thinking about it, it's like, it doesn't feel
The
right.
fact that it's so extreme, it's crashing websites.
That's a legitimate
Yeah.
way that people are falling for it. Like, oh, a $2,000 PlayStation, it's available. That's a great deal. Like,
Yeah, and it's so stupid. And
Well,
this,
here's the solution. If every single person that wants a PlayStation downloads one of these bots, so everybody at home, download a bot, start buying PlayStations.
but if everyone has a bot, then
and
no one has
everybody can be scalpers.
so
It's awesome.
actually, what people have been doing is there's like this online movement that I've seen, and it's like, don't buy it from scalpers. Apparently, it's been slightly effective because this one YouTuber I watch, he on Twitter, he tweeted and he said, I've gotten multiple emails from scalpers asking me to add an ad in my video for their PlayStation or Xbox resale. I think it's starting to work for some people, especially with the outrageous price, you know? The Facebook group is just... they're like...
The fact that you have to pay
They're
to join
legends.
and, like,
So, PlayStation tweets and they said, we have more PlayStations coming back into stock soon. And this Facebook group tweets and says, looking forward to it.
That's
And
awesome.
it's just...
As bad as it is, that's awesome.
Yeah. And on Facebook they tweeted like, we've also started they were just like bragging on Facebook. They're like, we also decided to start targeting the Xbox Series X, and this last restock, we managed to secure over 1,000 Xboxes. You snooze, you lose. And it's just...
I don't think it's snoozing when they're bought the second they're released, but you know.
Yeah, seriously.
You don't have a bot, you lose. I think
so, and it's just... And they made a statement. They're like, you know what? This is giving people quote-unquote jobs. We have no regrets. So what if some kid doesn't get their PlayStation for Christmas? At least we're making money.
That is the worst mindset.
Paraphrasing,
for a
that's basically what they said.
Yeah. No, and jobs are important, but if you can't work an honest job, which
this is like a scammer, like that's living in
that's
India.
justifying scamming. Like, oh yeah, just because you pay for fake car insurance, I mean, it's providing someone a job. No, that's not right.
And it's not honest work because you're not just like
you're taking advantage of a product that a lot of people want, and you're taking advantage of the people that want it. Like,
yeah, you're manipulating them. And so I just decided to put it in here. The Urban Dictionary definition for scalper is the scum of the earth who are too incapable to get an actual job.
Is that actually the definition?
Yeah.
Well, Urban Dictionary is written
There
by
were
the
a few
urban
other
people.
things under it that I don't think would be very appropriate for this podcast. But before we leave this subject, the scalpers are leaving a big impact. Like, some people are resorting to like theft and stuff. And I'm not sure if the people who are doing this are scalpers or not, but Amazon had a problem recently where people pre-ordered the PS5, they got it, except they didn't get it. The package came, they opened it up, and inside
Cat
was a foot
litter.
massager or cat litter.
Here's the
someone
secret.
got an air fryer and a Nerf gun.
Aren't a lot of the
Well,
scalpers...
hey, that's pretty epic. Do you guys have an air fryer? That's pretty cool.
Aren't a lot of the scalpers selling on Amazon too? Like,
Not really. It's
I've
mostly-
seen when I had my Nintendo Switch issue.
Yeah.
A lot of the inflated prices I was seeing were on Amazon.
You can
Yeah.
even go and look at Amazon. Just look at
Yeah.
PS5.
I think most of it, though, is
See.
on eBay.
Yeah, eBay sounds like a place where the scum of the
eBay's
earth would
going-
sell their products.
eBay's going
It's
out of
true.
business, thankfully. So
Yeah. And so this problem started with the shipping, I don't know what you call it, the people at Amazon who pack up the boxes, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the delivery, or I'm pretty sure there's something before it goes into the warehouse where that happens. But and then there's also been a problem where delivery people, they've seen it's a PlayStation, they just open up the box, take it with them, don't deliver it, you know? They just steal it.
Here's how the scalpers create an infinite loop of money. I'm gonna hopefully not give them ideas here. But what they do is they sell it for an inflated price, and then they hijack it before it gets shipped and resell it. And do that continuously so people never get their products and they make a ton of money.
That wouldn't.
Or they do it, they hijack it, take the packages, and then deliver them, but aggressively demand a tip.
So I personally, I think that I think something's happening because there's so much buildup right now. Like, people are getting mad, scalpers are making money. I don't think that it's going to last. I think that Xbox or PlayStation or someone somewhere is going to do something about this. But, so, one delivery man, the most recent report was one was fired after stealing a PlayStation that a kid was getting for their birthday.
Worth, at least this guy got a PlayStation. That's worth your job, right?
Seriously.
That's worth their livelihood and a minor misdemeanor.
And then I read this thing, and it's like, refunds just don't cut it, because, like, you're not getting your...
You want your PlayStation. You don't want a refund, you want the PlayStation.
And normally a refund, you just go and buy it, but you can't, because it's so in demand. And then, this was actually recent. Just this morning, I saw this news article. eBay, people on eBay, now they're basically like scalpers, but not. They're more like scammers. They're selling PlayStation 5 photos.
And they word it really carefully
The
so they don't get...
description is very carefully written. And in very small text, it says photo only. But it's... They're selling... One photo was sold for like $1,000, and it's just a photo of a PlayStation. Oh my gosh. And
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Stradivarius violins and that good old Utah monolith. Welcome back. So now we're going to talk about Stradivarius violins and why something so old can be so expensive and sought after.
so I don't know what a Stradivarius violin.
And that's
is.
where
They're
I
like
explain.
the most renowned antique violins in the world.
All right,
Really?
so yeah, Stradivarius violins are basically just violins built by this old Italian dude named Antonio Stradivari. He didn't just build violins; he also did cellos, violas, and harps. No one cares about violas.
Or
Stradivari.
harps.
I play
Harps are
viola, and this is
No-
very
no one
true.
likes you.
Nobody cares about violas. It's fine.
So yeah, he was a luthier, which is basically just a person that makes violins. He lived in the late 17th century onto the early 18th century, so 1600s, 1700s. He made an estimated 1,100 instruments, so that's actually not that many for a luthier at that time, and almost all
Really?
of them were violins. Yeah. So that's his
What was
instruments
the
are fairly
normal
rare.
number like?
I don't know that, but it's a fairly low number, especially that old. That meaning because only so many of them survived. Only about 650 of them are still around today, since a lot of them got destroyed. And yeah,
So for a luthier of his time, what would be the average amount of instruments made during a lifetime?
I don't know that, but,
But-
it's a low number for like a
Really? That's crazy.
old-timey
Because I would imagine nowadays, like, I doubt a luthier is gonna make more than 1,100 instruments in his lifetime.
I know.
Is
there's
that not?
lu- I've done
Have you seen
workshops.
some of, like the places that they
I know
make?
there's like workshops, but I would imagine they keep busy with repairs and other things too.
Well, I've seen like lecture series. I play cello and I'm fairly up to it with I go to like master classes and stuff. But I saw Desert Strings, which is a violin shop in Las Vegas. They did a little like exhibition where they talked about their process, and they'll like age wood in bulk. Cause like the older the wood is, the higher quality the instrument is.
Yeah.
So they'll like get a ton of wood and they'll put it in this like special area for like 20 years, and then they'll make a violin out of it. So they age wood in bulk.
Oh,
So they actually
really?
yeah.
That's interesting.
Topic for another day though. But basically only about 650 of these Stradivarius instruments survived, and about 450 were violins. So if you play cello, too bad, but you're gonna have a lot harder time finding one. So, and no one cares about violas. So
Is there a number of cello, and then we can subtract that from the 650 and try
Well,
and
we
figure
have-
out viola?
we don't have those numbers.
Just
it's
guesstimate.
It's all
From,
guesstimates.
from the remaining 200.
How many of them are viola?
Well, because they still every now and then have somebody be like, so I got a violin in my house and I think it might be valuable. And then they're like, oh my gosh, it's a Stradivarius!
and it's actually a viola.
No. They're all violins, even if they're more than 14 inches.
What if there was someone who had one who wasn't musical at all? They don't know the difference
Yeah,
between
yeah,
a
yeah.
viola
And
and a
so a lot of
violin.
that, and then
They're
there's
like, oh,
people-
that's a Stradivarius viola. That's worthless.
Yeah,
to
and then
us."
there's people who have made fake Stradivarius because we've looked a little bit into this.
It's really hard to
and-
replicate. He had his marks and
Yeah,
everything
because
on it.
and so they'd have a tag and then they show it and they're like, no, that's not real Stradivarius, but
I saw this hilarious like 4-minute segment from like some Pawn Stars episode or something, and it was this guy that thought he had a Stradivarius violin, and he had it in this old banged up case, and the violin didn't even have a bridge on it. It didn't have any strings on it. It was missing like half of the fingerboard, and he brings it into the shop, and basically the people, this is like the nicest violin shop in Los Angeles. Basically these people say, hey, that's a student instrument. It might have been made by Stradivari, but it's in such terrible condition that we can't even tell, and it's a child-size instrument. It's not even like it's not a legitimate instrument.
Basically, there's no point.
Yeah.
even if
no
it was
point in this.
Stradivarius, we don't want it.
We wouldn't even take it for how much money you'd give us.
So what's special about these Stradivarius violins is a lot of high caliber musicians really appreciate them and really enjoy playing them. But no one really is able to pinpoint exactly what it is about Stradivariuses that make them so desirable.
They just kind of feel nice. Is that
They were
what-
well made, and they apparently have a really nice, like, shimmery, silvery tone that a lot of violinists appreciate. But I have some data from a study here, and basically they had professional violinists test out Stradivarius violins with blindfolds on, and then they had them test out standard modern violins with blindfolds on, and they weren't reliably able to tell the difference. And when asked which one they prefer, they almost always preferred the modern ones. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh.
So Stradivarius violins, they're apparently so amazing, and they cost upwards of like $10 million, but no one actually knows why they're better.
Well, and I mean, antique things that are more than 300, almost 400
Yeah.
years old are...
Especially in great condition, which almost all
they're
of them
gonna be
are.
desirable, so... I mean, that's a really old antique.
Also, they have a ton of history behind them. Like most violins.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. Like, a lot of antiques out there, there's not a lot of history behind them. You know, it's old. But that's another interesting thing is, it's almost like a Rolex. You know, a Rolex, really, if you look at it, isn't that valuable. Not materially. But it's
got
a
the
Rolex.
name.
So it's going to be worth, you know,
You want it for the name?
$20,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Another-
like a Mac.
No, Macs are actually better. No. Basically, Stradivarius violins, they have these lists of previous owners and people who've played them. So they have a lot of history behind them. And that also just gives something a lot of value if, say, like a famous concertmaster of like the New York Philharmonic has played a violin, and that's documented, and this violin is passed down through the ages, like that just adds a lot of history to it, especially if it's a high quality instrument too.
Yeah. No, that's true. And so they have like names? Like,
Oh, yeah.
how does that work?
So they have lists of names of people who have used and owned them, and these instruments also just gain nicknames.
Where's the list?
I think they just
Do
keep
they
it.
just have it?
They keep it with the violin.
But, like,
when
each
the violin is sold or given to a new owner, then they'll give them the list.
And like each one has like a nickname?
Most of them do, yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Another thing with these violins is usually the musicians who are in the position where they'd want to play them can't afford to play them since they're so expensive. So usually what they'll have in order to play a $16 million violin, which is usually more than the musician makes in a year, is they'll have some rich person, usually like a celebrity, they'll have them own it, and they'll either like let them use it or kind of rent it out to them. So usually the people that own these instruments have no clue how to play them, but they'll like hold like auditions and stuff and go to concerts and be like, I wonder who I should let them play my violin. Like,
Oh,
so
Oh, yeah, I heard about that before.
that's kind of
Because-
cool.
It's weird. Like, somebody was like, yeah, I have this special privilege of playing their violin. I was like, huh.
yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, most musicians that are like that play Stradivariuses don't own Stradivariuses because they're so dang expensive. Well, let's move on to the Utah monolith a little bit. Carson, why don't you talk about it for a sec?
This
The
is
Utah monolith is a 10-foot metal structure that no longer exists because the aliens dropped it off and then picked it up. It was dropped on BLM land, and no, that doesn't stand for Black Lives Matter. It stands for Bureau of Land Management, so get that out of your stupid small brains. And let's move on because it's aliens and we can't talk about it.
Carson is our local conspiracy theorist.
Can we hear I want to hear Carson's theory on this.
I can't talk about it unless we put tinfoil and deck this room out with tinfoil.
Sorry, 2 seconds.
This is a sign of our inevitable death. You will die at some point during your life, and you need to know this. If you don't accept this fact, the monolith will destroy you. It probably has lasers in it. This was placed illegally. It was probably a big beacon for the aliens to be able to come to a remote area, set up camp, and invade us. They might be smaller than us or bigger than us. Who knows? The aliens are going to destroy us, and they did it illegally, so we can find them a lot of money and send them to court. It's going to be awesome. If you think you're cool by making more metal monoliths and placing them, and you're not the OG people doing it, you're not cool. It's the OG people that are cool.
All right.
So please place it back in Utah where it belongs, illegally, so we can arrest you and give you fair trial.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the facts. So this
Those were
monolith.
the facts.
Yeah, what are you talking
It's
about?
a
Nathan?
10-foot alien beacon here to destroy us. It's a good thing we found it. We placed it too close to Lake Powell. There's a lot of people in Moab.
They didn't
A
know.
lot of people.
They should have done more research.
So I'm on the subreddit right now, r/Utah monolith, and if you go all the way to the beginning of it, there's a lot of like fanatics that get on it first, but the first known account of the Utah monolith is from The Guardian.
Okay, yeah, I found these guys, and they were the ones saying that the vulgar language was written in the floor after it was taken, and they didn't seem very credible.
So basically,
Guardian.
it was a helicopter pilot. They were a state employee. They were doing a survey on bighorn sheep, counting them.
Bighorn sheep?
Big-born to sheep.
Yeah, we have those here in Utah.
You know that.
I didn't know those were a thing. Bighorn sheep.
They just
Have
big
you never
horns.
seen that? Okay, have you ever seen a Ram truck and it's got like the big sheep with like horns?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bighorn sheep.
Yeah, well, we have those here in Utah. So it was caught by bighorn sheep surveyors, and they found it while on a helicopter thing. They said it was one of the strangest things they've ever seen. And my theory is that it was just an artist. According to Google Maps, it was probably placed in about 2016.
Really?
Yeah, so it wasn't on Google Maps before 2016, but it is after 2016. And there's
So,
also...
like, they
So it's been there a while.
It's been here for 4 years, yeah.
Wow. And now it disappears once it
Yeah,
becomes
definitely
tourist.
extraterrestrials.
I think it was an elaborate scheme by the artist that placed it there. Because they made an Instagram post, like, exactly 4 years ago, saying, like, something will be discovered, and it was a selfie of them in the desert. And it was an
So who's
artist
this
that
artist?
does stuff. I don't know their name, but,
And I don't feel like making a giant metal monolith is anything artistic.
But basically, the subreddit Utah Monolith, they had this whole phase of trying
You should make
to...
a desert fiend
Carson,
and then place it
let
in
me
the
talk.
desert rather than a monolith. I'm just saying. If you're an artist, it's just advice for the artist.
This subreddit, they went through some phases in locating it. So their first evidence was the video of the helicopter pilot that found it. Then eventually it was found on Google Maps. I don't
Yeah,
even
they found the
know
coordinates,
how
didn't they?
they did it, but they ended up finding the coordinates, and people ended up going to it. So a lot of people on Instagram, a lot of people on the subreddit have
It like
found
became like a
selfies
big
of it.
trend.
Oh, I found the Instagram. The artist, their Instagram is Lethon Hawk.
The
Somewhere,
theorized artist.
yeah, but they say somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. This was 4 years ago, February of 2016, and it's a picture of them in the desert, what looks like kind of by Moab. I've driven through Moab, and it looks a lot like the white, sandy area of Moab.
That's definitely an interesting one. That one definitely has more facts linking to it. I mean, with it being in 2016 and all, and then being in...
I think the extraterrestrial thing is definitely more likely because, you know, aliens just want to eat your mom and your dad.
Have they said anything new, like on Instagram or anything?
Nope, I don't think so. I haven't really looked, but a lot of what this subreddit is, it's just a lot of people taking selfies in front of the monolith and comparing it to the Tesla Cybertruck. And
Yes,
all
it's
their
it's a very good thing to compare it to.
It could have been Elon Musk.
It was definitely Elon Musk.
My favorite theory
Saying
is that...
it wasn't Elon Musk is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
My favorite theory is that it's the PlayStation 6.
The PlayStation 6. That's pretty good.
But basically, this monolith has disappeared. No one knows where it is. All there is now is a pile of rock and the triangle top of it. It's a triangular prism made out of metal.
I want to know where it went. Like,
Yeah.
was it taken by like some kind of association, like a government? The BLM made a statement.
said that they don't know who took it, and
That's
it wasn't
just what
them.
they say. But
They said they didn't take it, although they made an emphasis on how it was illegal to be there.
but it would also.
I
would've
think
been
it was
illegal for
because
them
they
to
don't
take
want people going and like putting their own monolith, thinking they're
Yeah.
super cool.
That's fair.
So, Carson and his alien theory, me and Caleb with our rational theories, make of it what you will, but I think it's a fairly interesting topic. The fact that a monolith that was supposedly here for the last 4 years suddenly disappears, and people were able to find it, people were able to go to it, and make of it what you will, I guess, is the moral of the story.
They should have like kept a watch on it. Like, was it taken by like a person? That's what I want to know. Was it just taken by some person who thought it would be cool to keep in their garage?
What I want to know is how they took it. It was like implanted into the ground. Like it was a lot of thick sheets of steel riveted together.
I don't even care where it is right now. Was it taken by someone? Or was it taken by a group? And not like just a group of people who want to have it in their garage.
Well,
was it taken by
noticed a giant crane picking that thing up, so it must have been a group.
Well, how would they did they just like, you can't really just stick that in your truck, can you?
Sure.
It's probably like a national treasure scenario where it's all like a treasure hunt and they scattered the pieces everywhere.
It'll be found in the Smithsonian eventually.
And like inside the monolith, there's a map, and the Declaration of Independence is actually in the monolith. And
20 years from now, it's gonna show up at some private auction.
No, it's just gonna be on the White House.
My theory is still that it's my favorite theory is still that it's the PlayStation 6.
That is second most likely to the extraterrestrial.
It looks more like the Xbox Series X though. Just kind of
No.
the Xbox Series X is a monolith.
No, the
not
PlayStation is
a
super
triangle.
tall though.
Get with the... You don't know anything.
Have you seen the
Ever.
new PlayStation? It's a lot taller.
It's a Wi-Fi.
And that's the thing is like the next PlayStation is gonna be like huge in height wise.
Or if you put it sideways like a dweeb, you can have it really long.
See, it's not that they're giving it more power, but it's not that they're innovating it so it's smaller. They're just building this huge console that they can put more stuff
Apple,
in.
that's real innovation. They make their M1 chips small, but Intel, they don't care about size.
PlayStation, probably.
Have you seen the M1 chip? It is insane.
It's not the most powerful.
Have you
chip
looked
out
at
there, though.
Linus's review?
Yeah,
of
what's
it?
the point to
Have you
having a
looked at-
super small chip like that when...
Because
like,
you can
if
put
it's
it in a
computer...
laptop without a fan.
Oh, okay.
And it's super quiet, and it's great for studying and having it at college, and it has 20-hour battery life.
Okay.
At most, it has 18 hours battery life.
The Pro has 20 hours of battery life.
You think it actually exactly 20 hours of battery life?
With video playback, yeah.
No. Apple's known for exaggerating.
People
their
have
stats.
tested it. I've seen so many accounts of people using it for like an hour and a half, starting at 100, and it only went down to 96%.
Oh, the percentage is false.
So Raffles rigging.
Can I
their
say
own
on my
percentage.
iPhone, once I get to 10%, my percent starts going down faster.
Because you have a phone from 3 years ago. These are brand new M1 MacBooks. The conclusion is I'm right. It's probably time to wrap up. Thanks for listening to Current Conversation.
We'll see you guys next time.
Peace. Intro music by Nathan Matthews. Background music by Nathan Matthews and Wintergatan.